My name's Antoine. I am a 2021 Dodge Charger Scat Pack owner, muscle car guy myself, Mopar. Found this shop, it's kind of a long story. When I picked up my car, ordered my car from Dodge, and it took about 4 to 5 months to come in. And when I ordered it, you can't tell by looking at it, but it actually didn't have the black satin hood or anything on it. It had carbon fiber stripes, racing stripes down throughout the body of the car. And naturally, like anybody who's concerned about the paint, rock chips, things like that, first thing I did was took it to a detailer that I had thought I had done enough research on so that it could get ceramic coated and it could get the PPF film on the front. When I got the PPF film, when it was done, you could tell by looking at the PPF film that it was more bubbly than what it should have been. You know, I don't know a whole lot about PPF film myself, so I tend to, believe people who I think, are professionals at it. And what I was told was that, it will settle in over time. Well, it didn't. The bubble just kind of stayed, and some bubbles popped up, some got worse. You could tell where the PPF stopped and the paint began. There was just a whole lot of, it just didn't look good. And I had a warranty, so I took it back to have them do it again. And progressively it got worse every time you redid it. After the third time I said, that's it, I gotta find somebody else. So I spent more time researching for a good PPF shop in the area, and I came across Ceramic Pro Pottstown. I read the reviews, and there's a lot of reviews, and I mean, they're not like, reviews where it's like, hey, some people give it a 1 star and some people give 5. These are all 5-star reviews. And I'm reading them, and there's people that have, some fairly expensive vehicles and things like that. But I was still skeptical, so, I just made an appointment, called me an appointment, came in, had it looked at. And when I came in and ran into Gabe and his team, one thing that was reassuring was the look of disgust on their face when I pulled in. It was heartbreaking, but it was reassuring at the same time, because that let me know that they were at least seeing what I was seeing. And so that's what brought me here. So Gabe sat down with me for a good long while, and we talked about, the different avenues I could take as far as, taking corrective action on my vehicle. But he also kept it real with me about, the risks that are involved with, potentially pulling that PPF off, what I might see when it comes off, what I might not see, and whatnot. And we also went over some options as far as, do I want to go with a repaint or anything like that. But first thing was first, where he just pulled the PPF off and see what we had. And as he was pulling the PPF off, now I wasn't here for the time he was doing it, but as Gabe and his team were pulling the PPF off, they were keeping me abreast through text messages and pictures, showing me what they saw. And what they saw as they were pulling the PPF off was that the previous shop that I took it to had cut so deep into the paint that it couldn't be wet sanded out. It couldn't, it was there. The only way to really mitigate all of that damage was to go for a full-on repaint. And I had considered it. I had honestly considered it, but Gabe actually really gave me some different courses of action to take as far as, well, let's try this first. Let's see what we can do first. That way you don't have to, set up a claim with your insurance and all this other stuff. And then getting your car repainted is while you own it, is a nightmare, because you have to wait for the paint to cure and all this other stuff. So the option was to take the stripes completely off and then replace the stripes with a satin, with the satin hood, as you see. And so I thought on it for a day and said, yeah, let's go ahead and replace the stripes with the satin hood, but not just the hood, the roof and the trunk as well. Like, I don't, let's just do it all. Let's get rid of the stripes entirely. And after they were done, I really, I was at a loss for words. The whole profile of my vehicle was changed. The way it looked, a lot of muscle cars, they have a very specific profile, whether it's from the side, the front, from a distance, up close, whatever the case may be. And mine was completely changed. It didn't look like my car initially. It looked better. And so to say I was happy about it would have been an understatement. And not only that, they went the extra mile and they just completely ceramic coated my vehicle entirely, and then did PPF all the way to the back fender flares. And that was stuff that I had planned on, doing later down the road. At this point, I just wanted to get the damage fixed, but they took care of me in such a way that I don't have to worry about that anymore. And when it comes to my vehicle and my vehicle's care. I know where to go. I don't have to look. I know where to go. I feel comfortable recommending to other people. I'll put my reputation on the line for that to anybody. And I just, you know, my vehicle just, it feels brand new to me. The best part, honestly, I guess I'm kind of an old school guy in a way where, you know, working on the vehicle is always fun. Looking at the final product is always fun. But the best part to me is just getting into a room with a bunch of people who love vehicles and we can all talk that same language and we can all understand each other, and we can, you know, and then looking at all the other vehicles in here and just admiring everything about the shop from like I said, from the vehicles that are in here and certainly from the team that's in here. So that's my favorite part, is the interaction. I didn't have my car for 2 weeks. Yeah, so the biggest difference before was at the other shop. I had brought it in and they were like, yeah, come get it tomorrow, it'll be done. And initially in my head, I was like, I've had ceramic coats done before and it's been at least a couple of days. But they were like, come back and get it the next day. And this was for the film and the ceramic coat. And it wasn't like they didn't have other cars to do. You know, they had a shop full of cars too. But when I got in here, I mean, Gabe was just like, yeah, man, gonna have it at least a week. And then when I called a week later and was, you know, just kind of checking up on things, he's like, you're gonna need another week. And I was just like, you know, and I wasn't rushing. I wasn't stressing it, because I knew that for one, Gabe was keeping me updated, sent me pictures, but I also knew the amount of work that needed to be done. And so this was the penance, my penance for maybe not doing enough research. It's not like I really struggled to come up with the words to describe how much different it was from when I brought it in here and when I had it. And I really thought I was gonna miss this Racing Stripes, because the Racing Stripes, I ordered it that way. I was really wanting to have the Racing Stripes back on there, but, you know, had to make a compromise in there. And the compromise I made, even with that compromise that I made, I was almost in a position to feel underwhelmed. You know, I just didn't have a whole lot of trust in anything at that point. When I came back, I was overwhelmed. I didn't even know, you know, to the point where I brought my family in here and they were just like, they don't really care much about cars like I do, but I brought them in here and they were like, whoa. So, man, it just felt good. It felt really, really, really good. And if I were to just add one thing too, like I think one of the biggest things is a lot of people in my position, when they come in here, they usually been beat out of a large sum of money by somebody else first. At least I was. You know, if you're lucky enough to come here straight out, then that's great. But for some people I know, you know, we had to go through some bad times to come in here. And now we're coming in here, we're already financially underwater because of the resources that we've spent on our vehicle. And Gabe and his team, they take that into account. They understand. They understand.
Antoine, bro, thank you. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to work on your car. It was a project, but we enjoyed every second of it. And it's not often we get a chance to flex our skills and like really bring somebody back from having a negative experience and turn them into somebody who's having a really positive one.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you that we've seen some messed up stuff around here, but this and what we saw on it, that was horrible.
Yeah.
And I'm really sorry that you had to deal with that, but we very much appreciate the opportunity to make it right. I know that me and the rest of the team over there are absolutely just fantastic, thrilled. Thanks again. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Gabe.
Yeah,
Thank you, man.
That's a wrap.
Man, I honestly couldn't have said enough. I could have kept going all day. You had to stop me.